Hey, this is Jim. It's 10:05 a.m. in San Francisco, California on July the 13th. Please note that all discussions, analysis, and information presented are for general informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or any other form of professional advice. So I'm going to start off with the 60-minute volume characteristics of AMC. Then I'm going to drill down to the 5-minute and show you guys something that you can look for here over the next few hours today. If you guys have followed me for a while, you know that all of my work, the cornerstone of all my work, is that if I find something that I think works on a certain time frame, meaning if I can observe something that works on a 1-minute price bar chart or a 5-minute or a 60-minute, I also should be able to move all the way up to a 1-month price bar, a weekly, price bar, daily, and any other time frame. And I should be able to observe the exact same thing. And if I don't, I throw it out. So that's been the way I've approached things for 30 years. And I think with the reason I do that is because if I can observe it at every single time frame, you can call it fractal time level, whatever you want to refer to it as, then in my mind at least, that proves that it has something to do with human nature and the universe, as opposed to some little kind of nuance that may be showing up in the market right now and may be gone 5 minutes from now. So I don't do those types of, I don't look for little scalpy edges. I don't look for quant. None of my work is based on quant. Not that there's anything wrong with those approaches, but it's just that if I'm going to put in the amount of time I put in, I want to at least convince myself that it's something that can be used for years and years, hopefully forever. And we'll see if AI completely changes the market to where it doesn't look like the same human emotion characteristics apply. But for the time being, this stuff's still working. So this is the 60-minute chart that we've been looking at for quite a while. You guys can pause it and go back through some of these other little, these are volume fractals with the downtrend line colliding with the nesting or resting volume, which is that horizontal white line. And you guys can look at some of my past videos and get an explanation about that. But just to try to move this forward a little more quickly so I can show you the 5-minute volume characteristics. Here are the two nesting fractals, volume fractals that I'm tracking right now. Now, this is a little trickier because these other ones we've been tracking in the past have been sort of single setups. We didn't have to worry about sort of tracking a nesting setup inside of a larger. So this little guy right here would be considered the nesting sitting inside of this one here, okay? So that's why if you look at this note here, I'm saying late 7/13, which is today, we are due for a volume breakout. That's based on the rules I've taught you guys, or tried to point out, where the downtrend here, drawn off of the volume spike highs, where it collides with this nesting or resting volume, that's where I've drawn this circle. That's where you expect to see the breakout. A lot of times you'll get the breakout multiple hours early, which it looks like we have right here with this volume bar of 3 million shares. That was 9:30 closing, 60-minute bar my time, so 10:30, 11, 12:30 in New York. So it looks like that's the start, and it looks like later on today we can start to move up. Now the challenge we have is that, as opposed to these setups we had in the past where there was nothing else sitting above it, and once we started to get our volume breakout, we could have started to run and post consistently higher and higher 60-minute volume closes. This one here has the challenge of probably bumping its head up into this downtrend line from this larger, if you want to look at this as being the younger brother of the family, and this is his older brother here, it's going to bump its head probably into that area. So what that means is, volume today, even on a breakout basis, might be limited to 4 million shares. Okay. What we want to see to really get trending is this note I've written here. We'd like to see a 6.6 million green 60-minute closing bar candle to uptrend. The reason being is, even though in the bigger picture we're still keyed off of this this 12.307 million share green bar, that's what started this kicked off this uptrend that we're in right now. And again, remember, this is all noise. In my work, all of this is sideways action is considered noise, and we're expecting to see volume pick up again on the green side and see a breakout above this 455 high that we posted back on June the 28th. So obviously we were close today with a 452 session high. If you guys are members of the service, you know that I mentioned the Anemoi daily trigger sitting right here at these levels and this pinning algorithm that's running. So anyway, what we expect to see here is within this bigger picture bullish multi-week sideways trading action is if we can paint a 6.6 million share green bar, all it does is it is an increase in the already bullish characteristics we have from this 6.566 million share bar and this 6.111 million share green bar, right? We already know we painted right through these little red guys, so winning all the way around, winning here to start this uptrend, and then again, all of the most impressive volume bars have been green closing bars. So we know what we're looking for. We know we have a timing element based on this little trick I'm showing you guys. And we know that we more than likely will face some volume resistance on this breakout we're looking for later today. Where we don't have any volume resistance is when we get to this late 717 volume breakout due date, which is based on this downtrend colliding with basically the same nesting or resting volume. Now you guys can notice if you go back that the nesting or resting volume has been slowly declining. So this is sometimes people talk about a coiling setup in a price chart. This is sort of a coiling, or I like to refer to it as the quiet before the storm setup in volume. So what's really encouraging about this is that we already know, based on this information sitting here, that we're in charge for the time being, and that the bulls, that is, and it looks like that we're going to have an uptrend resolve to the upside as opposed to the downside. Now let me show you guys, you can take a look at all this other information. The Anemoi monthly triggers up at 1188. So if we do start to take off, and especially if we start to trend above 10 million shares on these closing 60-minute green bars, we should be able to sail through an air pocket and up to about 1188 quickly and easily in the days and weeks ahead. Here's what the 5-minute looks like, you guys. Now, this is the first time I've explained how to apply this to the 5-minute, but again, the way I started the whole video was talking about the fact that everything I do, I want to make sure I can apply the same things that I think I've noticed, the behavioral characteristics of the market caused by human beings. I want to see if I can apply that at all these other levels. This is the 5-minute. Now you can see where we had this downtrend moving toward the nesting or resting volume, and you can see that I have a note here. In AMC specific, everything's different for every different stock, and it even changes from week to week, month to month, year to year, depending on how much interest is in a stock and how much trading volume is reflected by that interest, right? Sometimes traders swarm on a stock and then they'll leave for months on end. So if you look at this, we've got a couple things going on up here price-wise that you can look at first. One is that we've got this Anemoi daily trigger at 448 today. They're fighting really hard to try to keep price underneath that. We also have this pinning algorithm that you guys have known I've talked about for weeks now. And this thing has a few more days before it runs its course. They started a new one yesterday. And so even though we're making some progress, they are stacking new pinning algorithms. They're starting to run new pinning algorithms as the one that they've set in the past starts to expire. And the way they're doing that is waiting until probably 3 hours before the expiration of one of their old algos, and then they turn on a new one. So you can see right now they've allowed the AMC stock to advance 30 cents in 3 sessions. So basically 10 cents per session advance here over the past 3 sessions. That's all within the backdrop of this pinning algo. So when I talk about a pinning algorithm, that doesn't mean that it's going to pin it dead sideways. It just means that they want to control the price, and they want to either move it sideways or walk it up or walk it down, but very slowly. The main thing you can associate with a pinning algorithm is the idea that they're sucking velocity out of the tape. So it's typically not a great backdrop to want to be long calls or puts. It's a backdrop where you want to be the seller of the calls or puts and bringing in premium, and allowing some space price wise between the pinning level and wherever the strike is that you're selling. But anyway, as soon as the pinning algorithm expires, hopefully we'll be moving to the upside above the daily trigger, and we'll start to trend and be able to attack that weekly and the monthly. So you guys can see here in AMC, 30 to 70 million shares per 5-minute bar is what I call, cricket volume. So a cricket signal comes when you can mouse over and take a look at periods. And again, this is just the resting or nesting volume within this 5-minute setup, just like I've shown you on the 60-minute bars. But the nesting or resting volume in this stock on at the 5-minute price bar level tends to be 30 to 70,000 shares. And so I just call that a cricket signal. I want to look for a period where things have completely quieted down, and it's basically crickets, right? Nothing's going on. Well, we picked that up when they started to do this bar coding right here. And obviously this is, manipulation, but no one seems to care. So, play the hand you're dealt is my attitude on this stuff. And if you don't like it, you go away. We're not forced to come into the market and participate, right? And if we do, we can be long-term investors and not pay attention to any of this garbage. So, pick your poison. But anyway, you guys can see how well this worked, right? This was the timing element. Look at the breakout in volume right on the timing element that we would be looking for if you study resting, nesting volume colliding with downtrend of volume spikes. Then what I was saying is in this stock, after 30 to 70,000 share cricket volume for multiple bars, typically 400 to 600,000 shares is signals your next directional move. Now, unfortunately, everything worked, but the spike in volume, 616,525 shares, came on a red bar. So that's these guys trying to spank price right back below this daily trigger, right? No coincidence that as all of this worked out, and you guys could have been watching this in real time, looking for your trade if you want to trade the long side. Unfortunately here, these guys won, but the reason they did that was because they know they have to get this stock price back below $4.48. Anything above that, and it can run into the fives quickly, and for whatever reason, they have wanted to defend that 5 level for multiple weeks on end. What you guys can look for next, though, is the exact same. If they start to fail later today, okay, and this would probably happen with price above this 448 daily trigger. But you can use the same techniques that I show you guys in the hourly. So this is a 616,000 share red bar. If you see later in the session today, and we know based on the 60-minute volume setup that we're looking for a volume breakout at the 60-minute level later today. If you see a 5-minute price bar paint green closing bar volume above this 616, 525,000 share bar, then we're painting through a red bar with a green bar. If it's going to happen, I'd be willing to bet it'll happen on a move back up through this this daily trigger, and then we can run toward this 470 hidden retest level. Now, this is not like the good old days where we had multiple dollar moves and air pockets in between these different sort of bogeys that we have to shoot for, but it is what it is, hand we're dealt. So at least a fast market move toward 470 would be encouraging and would be pretty much in line with what I'd expect as far as velocity and everything else. That would carry us back above this high from a couple days ago as well. So you guys know exactly what to look for here. We're looking for a 600 and call it 20,000 share green 5-minute bar at some point between now and the close. And then again, if assuming that our volume breakout on this fractal works, we know again that we were looking for a volume breakout at the 60-minute level, late session July 13. So all I'm doing is pointing out that you can continue to drill down based on how actively you want to trade. The whole idea behind this 60-minute volume bar study is that you can miss a huge percentage of a move if you wait to see what the closing volume looks like at the end of the session. So obviously we want to drill down. Well, if you want to even drill down further, I was just showing you on that 5-minute how to do that. And you can go down to 1 minute, you can go down to 15, 30 second bars, whatever you want to do. You can't really, you won't have a lot of success with a 25 tick bar because again, that's activity based as opposed to timing based bar. So, but all the way down to the 15 second, 30 second, I'll do that sometimes if I'm either bored or want to just study price movement or trade actively. So I think that's it from my side. Long video, but I wanted to show you guys that so that you would, let's look at this real quick. Okay, so really the biggest takeaway here is that you can see this small degree downtrend line here that we're probing above. So, pretty typical on a move through a uptrend or downtrend to see either what the old timers call the kiss back, which just simply means price, pulls back and makes contact with the trend line that's price is breaking through, or what I've shown people, which is the if it's a fast market move, price moving back to a certain price level to do a hidden retest and then vibration after that. So in any event, this isn't too unusual that we're sort of rattling around here today, and this is sort of, if you want to try to make sense and explain things, that can help. Assuming we start to accelerate to the upside, you guys can see this 470 hidden retest level would be the next bogey. Typically, once a retest is hit, you have that vibration sequence, so you have the full A, B, C, D, E. The fast market break on the way down is the A. The contact back up to 470 would be the B, and then you'd have the C, D, E, and then take off on your next leg up. Nothing to say we can't accelerate straight through all of these, but as stubborn as these algorithms are, you have to bet the odds favor a hidden retest being contact being made and also full vibration A, B, C, D, E. Next hidden retest is 543, and then you have 580 after that. If this follows this past sort of pattern over here, we would pump up toward the speed line, and then if we have something really great to look forward to, then what would have to happen before we would attack this Anemoi monthly trigger at 1188 is price would not only move up to this speed line attack like we did back here in February, but then when you have this wiki throwover right here, instead of being rejected right back down again, we would have a situation where price would throw over this current active speed line right here, and then the speed line would become support. So just treat it the same way you would any other kind of a trend line, where if you see price move above it, resistance becomes support, and then we would be able to start to shoot up through an air pocket up toward this Anemoi monthly trigger at $11.88. That's it from my side. Good luck to everybody.